Senator Moody.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Minister Hajdu and your team of officials for joining us today. I want to continue this line of questioning around just who we're going to be looking at with this framework. My thoughts are, and my question is around refugees. Will you be, and does this framework actually consider this population, as we well know that refugees have significant mental health issues due to so many of the traumatic experiences that they encounter in their transition into Canada and from their prior lives. And the second question I wanted to address was around children. So we brushed past them just now when we talked about teachers, but will this really focus on children? And will we be able to understand from the data collected how we can support and lead policymakers to make decisions around children suffering from early childhood toxic stress and PTSD? Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Senator. And I guess within that question is an acknowledgement that many groups of people experience trauma and don't get support, in some cases early enough, to actually be able to recover from that trauma at all, if not, well. And so, first of all, just say that this is primarily an occupational strategy, but I think there is an openness to understanding how those groups of people intersect. So I'll turn to Candace to talk a little bit about the populations you've mentioned, with the understanding that I think we can't be all things to all people, or we run the risk of being nothing good to everyone. And so I'd want to sort of, from my perspective as minister, be thoughtful about how we are scoping people in so that we can actually achieve some of the goals set out by the original intent of the framework. But I will turn to Candace to respond to your question a little bit more in detail.
Thank you, Minister. And you're right, the framework does focus predominantly or primarily on those occupations that would experience, but that's not to say that there aren't investments being made for vulnerable populations, including vulnerable ages. The $100 million that was announced in the budget just yesterday or Monday does include programming that will do just that. Look at children, look at those vulnerable populations, in particular those have been multiple impacts from either their space, place, and base, but also because of COVID. So again, it may not be captured, as it were, as a frame, because again, the framework is just the organization, collaboration, strengthening to achieve some of those critical milestones, but also the program that currently exists and unfortunately has been augmented because of the budget that was announced. And also not to lose sight of those perhaps are being like jurors who are on juries at some of those more challenging situations, as well as, of course, refugees was an issue that was raised at the annual conference in April of 2019. So, of course, there is a section dedicated to just that with regards to those conversations that happened there in the framework themselves. Thank you.